You know that feeling when your alarm goes off, and instead of jumping out of bed, you lie there scrolling, staring at the ceiling, wondering why you even set goals in the first place? Maybe it's you, maybe someone you know, caught in a fog of indecision, overwhelmed by options, feeling lost, but still trying to convince yourself that tomorrow will magically be better. I've been there drifting, unsure of direction, yet desperate to make progress. The paradox is this: discipline doesn't require clarity, and relentless action doesn't demand certainty. In fact, mastering discipline when you feel lost might be the single most powerful skill you can develop. Today, I want to show you how to cultivate relentless discipline, even when you don't know where you're going, and explain the psychology behind why it works. It starts with understanding that discipline is a muscle, not a mood. Motivation is fleeting, it comes and goes like the tide, often leaving you stranded when you need it most. Discipline, on the other hand, is consistent action regardless of how you feel. Neuroscience calls this the power of habit and automaticity. When you consistently repeat behaviors, neural pathways strengthen, making action easier and resistance lower. Maybe it's you, maybe someone you know, who waits for inspiration to strike before acting. The truth is, waiting for clarity or motivation is optional. Action is not. The most disciplined people don't wait to feel ready. They show up over and over and let momentum build. Then there's the profile of the overthinker. This is the person paralyzed by choices, who weighs every decision, fears mistakes, and analyzes outcomes endlessly. Psychologists refer to this as analysis paralysis, where excessive cognition overwhelms the prefrontal cortex. I know the type well. I used to lie awake at night, crafting perfect routines, only to abandon them the next morning. The shift comes when you commit to micro-actions, the smallest possible step forward that doesn't require certainty. Make your bed, write a single line in your journal, or do a 5-minute workout. Each small action reinforces self-efficacy and builds momentum. Then the fog begins to lift, because you're creating evidence that you can act even without perfect clarity. Another type is the directionless dreamer, someone with big aspirations but no framework for execution. They say, "I want to be fit, I want to learn, I want to grow," yet every day feels chaotic, scattered, and unproductive. Behavioral psychology shows that humans are more likely to act when there's a defined cue and routine. The discipline trick here is system over inspiration. Create a daily system that doesn't depend on desire. It could be waking up at a set time, dedicating 30 minutes to learning, or completing a small task that nudges progress. The system doesn't care whether you feel motivated. It simply guides behavior consistently. Over time, it rewires your brain to perform automatically, so discipline becomes a natural byproduct rather than a constant battle. Then there's the excuse collector, the person who rationalizes inaction. "I'll start tomorrow. I need the right environment," or "I don't have the right tools." Sound familiar? This is cognitive bias in action. The mind invents justifications to reduce short-term discomfort, even at the cost of long-term goals. The antidote is radical accountability. External accountability, like sharing goals publicly or reporting progress to someone. Combined with internal accountability tracking, even the tiniest actions shifts the cost-benefit analysis in your favor. Suddenly, the brain rewards completion more than comfort, and excuses lose power. But here's the twist. The most profound transformation happens when you decouple action from certainty. You don't need to know exactly where you're headed. Psychology demonstrates that forward motion creates clarity, what some call the fog clears as you move principle. The act of doing, even imperfectly, strengthens decision-making pathways in the brain, improves focus, and reinforces confidence. Every repeated action becomes a signal to your mind that you are capable, resourceful, and disciplined, even when the destination is unclear. Another crucial aspect is identity-based discipline. Instead of framing actions as chores or tasks, frame them as evidence of the person you are becoming. For example, "I am someone who shows up," or "I am someone who takes control of their day." Social and cognitive psychology confirms that self-identity strongly predicts behavior. People act in ways consistent with who they believe themselves to be. Every time you act according to your desired identity, no matter how small, it reinforces the belief system that supports discipline. Maybe it's you, maybe someone you know, who waits to feel like a certain type of person before acting. The truth is, action builds identity, not the other way around. Then there's the power of environment, which often gets overlooked. Discipline isn't just about willpower. It's about shaping the surroundings so that action is easier and resistance is minimized. Neuroscience shows that cues in your environment trigger behaviors automatically. Clear your space of distractions. Place reminders of priorities where you see them, and structure your day so that the easiest path is the disciplined one. Momentum is easier to maintain when the environment supports action instead of sabotaging it. The next lesson is patience with the process. Relentless discipline doesn't yield immediate results, which is why many give up. Dopamine-driven brains crave instant feedback, but long-term growth relies on consistent, repeated actions that gradually compound. Each day you act, you're strengthening neural pathways, forming habits, and building resilience. The rewards may not be visible immediately, but they are accumulating invisibly, silently, and powerfully. Finally, there's the principle of reflection without judgment. Discipline is strengthened not by beating yourself up for mistakes, but by analyzing them objectively and adjusting. Cognitive behavioral psychology shows that constructive reflection, combined with persistence, reinforces learning and resilience. If a day goes off track, the disciplined person asks, "What can I do differently tomorrow?" instead of, "Why am I so weak?" This mindset fosters relentless progress without self-sabotage. So how do you become relentlessly disciplined even when lost? Start small. Commit to micro-actions. Build a daily system. Anchor actions to identity. Optimize your environment. Hold yourself accountable. Decouple action from certainty. And above all, trust that clarity emerges through movement, not waiting. Each small, consistent step builds momentum, rewires your brain, and reinforces your identity as someone who shows up no matter what. Which profile do you recognize most in yourself? Are you the overthinker, the dreamer, the excuse collector, or maybe a combination? Reflect on it. Which small action can you commit to today that begins the ripple effect of relentless discipline? Share your thoughts, track your progress, and remember, clarity and results come from motion, not from waiting for the perfect plan or the perfect feeling. Because here's the truth. Discipline isn't about having a perfect map. It's about moving forward even when the path is blurry. Action creates clarity, builds confidence, and strengthens the mindset needed to conquer uncertainty. The more you practice disciplined action, the less lost you feel, and the more unstoppable you become. Start today. Start small. Start relentlessly. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Hit the like button if this helped you.